So, new year, new problems. Anyway, hey everybody, this is Retrokid Reviews, doing my first double review of many I'm gonna have to do for the rest of this week-wise for my figures, don't want to stand unceremoniously or whatever else is, well, new nowadays. Yeah, this is not a Build-A-Figure, but we're doing a double review of the X-Men 97 Lucas Bishop, otherwise known as, well, just Bishop, and the Chode Wave Monet Croix in her Generation X uniform from last year's Build-A-Figure Wave, X-Men wise. So first and foremost, we're going to start off with the packaging, and already you can tell there's a night and day difference between the two. I believe this wave of X-Men figures is going to be the last one with the plastic-free packaging window. So we'll just get a last look. Basically a good 3D scan, probably a promotional photo with Monet in action. We'll talk about the hands and most of the fact that I don't really know much about this character other than the Uncanny Avengers comic that has been happening currently in the comics. So this is a bit of an eye-opening for me. Also, shoutouts to, I think, a frequent cosplayer that is on Black Nerd Comedy's channel, Alu, I think her name is. Go to her channel down below because I think she pulled up a really cool Monet cosplay a few years ago during, I think, more recent 2000s adaptations of her outfits over the years. So going on her there, and hi if you're watching this, if all goes well in my DMs, if anything else. So that's really much it for the packaging there. Like I said, you get pretty much a decent X-Men logo, legal nonsense for basically explaining how plastic free is. Side of the box is basically the checklist of what you got to build for this wave. I have 3 out of the 6 figures in this wave, and I might commit to doing a full I don't know, I guess build for Chode, if anything else. So with that said, oh, and artwork here, and I'll be honest, compared to the figure, which not a lot of people do with these side-by-side comparisons, it's about as one-to-one as you're gonna get with Monet in the 90s, with her era with Gen X. My apologies if my steady cam is a little shakier than usual. Working with tables here is never a really good sign, so is it a preview to what you will be seeing later this week with the Passenger side of the double reviews? Who knows? So we'll put her to a side, we'll get to her articulation in a moment, because I want to talk about the retro-carded X-Men 97 packaging. It's really nice. It's a good promotional artwork, what you're going to be seeing probably in the show proper come later this year, if all goes well, streaming-wise. Oh, since I'm also here talking about Marvel television, I totally forgot to sit through, other than the Christmas episode for What If Season 2. However, go to the cards for Kind of Funny, their first interview back for the new year, talking about that season as well. Sorry for the burp, I just got back from coffee. Back of the box is pretty good. No digital scans, another promotional photo shot of the figure and the rest of the wave. I've heard that the Magneto is probably the shortest Eric has been body proportion wise, or his figure. And other than that, I think Wolverine and Lucas over here, Bishop-wise, is probably the best figures out of this first wave of the 97. I know Wave 2 is probably coming out as of this recording, and I think, if anything, I want to get their Cyclops, because kind of a big fan for Jim Lee era outfit. More exposed hair, the better, personally, when it comes to Scott's history with his outfits. So, with that said, and with the boxes out of the way, let's get to, let's start with Monet first. Let me put Lucas here on the side. Yeah, for not a lot of what I thought was going to be limited articulation, new female body mold-wise, I've been kind of comparing her with most of the new mold when it comes to the female mold, which is kind of a hard ask, given that most of my female body mold figures I got with the new waves is obviously last year's release of Daredevil, Elektra, and already you could tell there's a little bit of reuse on certain angles, not by much, so we'll put Elektra to the side there. And, yeah, so starting off, the painting and sculpting in the Monet is actually pretty good. I highly recommend Blur Without Fear's rundown of the character because apparently Monet has had a history of being a way too light-sided with her skin tones in the comics, and I was worried that it might be the same case here for my copy of the figure. Thankfully, no, unless my lighting is a little down than usual, so I'll just put a little bit of shade of what the skin tone usually is in the comics, and I think the art in the box kind of showcased it more. Another thing, I think most figure collectors have probably said, I don't know if Anthony's Customs mentioned this on his video, the gauntlets you see here, and the boot gauntlets down here as well are all floater pieces, so there's a good chance you could probably use Monet as like a decent custom mold for like later members of Gen X if you need to do that. And speaking of Gen X, let me get Emma out here to show a decent size comparison of what basically the age range is of Monet at this point in the comics. Not really much. I am using the Action Force display stand, so let me just get her a little bit up there in proportion. So that's kind of where you want to go with Emma and Monet on this one. Yeah. Also, I think they have the similar body mold. They are both pinless until we get to the elbow articulation, because I think Emma's is still going on the single joint, as you could clearly see here with Monet. She is having the double jointed elbows, which is the big plus for female body molds for this wave of the figures last year. I don't have time to get my X-23 Wolverine, but size-wise, they're about the same look with her and Laura. I'm just ballparking here. I'm looking at it right at the shelf, so my bad in advance there. And with the second of probably many body comparisons I'm going to have to do, my last one for the female body mold before we get the Bishop is Captain Carter from What If. So like I said, please go to Kind of Funny for their Season 2 breakdown. And yeah, it's still 1-to-1 what you kind of see here. I don't know where the reuse begins on both body molds. The diaphragm joint is a little more pronounced. You could tell in yeah, in Captain Carter's case, she has a little bit more going on in the diaphragm joint. My bad. It's been a little over a year since I played with this figure, so let me see if I could do this right. You can tell right away that the double jointed elbows are the big star of the show with the new female body mold, and so worth it. So let's put her to the side right now so we can get to the articulation side. There is thigh cuts, which is the good side of it. Like I said, with the double jointed elbows is the big plus for female body mold since last year. The head sculpt, though, is tilted. I think there's a dumbbell in there. The only problem is, as you can already tell, Monet's hair is definitely in the way. Like I said, with most of the floating pieces, same goes for the Gen X logo as well. Other than that, it's a decent diaphragm joint also for Monet, because I think one of her power sets is flight, so I'm going to try to do my best, if I didn't showcase it in my social media preview with her on Insta, on how much of a powerhouse she is. She's pretty much, I think her mutation is basically perfection. Like, she's the perfect in like every sort of scenario. I think she's a little bit of like the heavy in Gen X. So again, I highly recommend Blur Without Fear's video tutorial, because not only that, she has a history with like her family. She's former royalty and stuff like that. And the less I say about her penance form, the better, because it is getting used in the Uncanny Avengers run. And I have a lot of lore with this lady that I have to basically research myself. So, overall, if you know the character from heart, or you just remembered her from the Generation X pilot that I surprisingly remembered watching live as it was happening when it was new back in the 90s. Not kidding, it was one of those rare late night shows I could watch when I was a kid in the 90s, and that was one of them. I think there's probably a breakdown, there's probably a retrospective out there. I'll probably do a retro review if I haven't already someday. So with that said, my overall thoughts with the figure, we'll do separate scores right now because it's probably going to be a long video. She's a good 9 out of 10. For the female body mold, that's always going to be high ranks here. The fact that it's this 1-to-1 of this early rendition of Monet is pretty nice. I think the big I guess draw for, I guess, customs that will probably pick up this figure is to put her in body molds, or like with previous I think Mockingjay figures, to give her like her modern costume nowadays, which is a nice idea. But I kind of want to, if I'm if I'm armchairing how to do the modifications here, I want to keep as much as I can with this original body mold. See if like her X zipper over here lines up with any of her modern costumes. Probably do a repaint job. Keep most of what I could with the flesh tones, but then again, I haven't really done this style of modification. I'm more of a nerf modder here on my side of the channel. Last up before we get to Bishop is her hand options. The good news is it's not too much. I think this is the hand it came in the package with. So let's try our best here to get this out. And it kind of can't. So you can do it. It's just in my particular copy's case, the hinge joint is kind of gripping into the floater a little more bitier than I think it would. Another thing there is, I think, butterfly joints. No, I think it's a single joint. Nope. Okay, so there is some range there. There is a floater here for the shoulder piece. Let me show that real quick before we get the Bishop. And that's really it as far as the rest of it goes. The diaphragm joint is way more, has way more movement than you think it is. Another thing I wish the female body mode and most of Marvel Legends figures I think are getting this year is drop-down hips, thanks to the G.I. Joe wave. So I got Outback / Future Me here in my character arcs. Yeah, you could definitely tell there's a 9-day difference with the drop down hips. Definitely helps also for replacing in the shelves as far as repositioning goes. So with that said, yeah, for my first go around with a Gen X level character, unless we're talking Emma over here last year, she's a good pickup. Makes a good team filler. If you know her history in the comics, you could probably pull off a lot of her fan favorite action shots post Gen X if you can do that. So with that said, we're gonna leave her to the side before the wrap up to get to the real star of this double review, Bishop. So, what's there to say about him that I don't already know? I know he's a Jim Lee era character. I know he's one of the 2 most famous time travelers of the X-Men, and in preparation for this review, I actually rewatched some old X-Men 93 episodes with him in it, mainly Time Fugitives, so that I can do a good, well, already out of the gate, size comparison between him and Cable. Because those who don't know, they currently just finished wrapping up their team up in the Children of World saga side of Fall of X. So I'll leave all the wikis, like I said, for all these storylines down below. I'll only do the Fall of X ones as far as character descriptions go. Google yourself, more importantly, in Bishop's case as well. There's not much history I'm unaware of with him, other than he was the catalyst for the comic version of Messiah Complex, which was used in Deadpool later down the road for Deadpool 2. So that said, on to the figure, and already it's not as shell-shaded as I thought it would be. There is like a lot of the skin tone that's going to probably look like the animation that they're probably going to work off of. I think a good example is going back to, of course, Peggy over here, to give you a good example of how much they replicated off of the Toon R going into this figure. For the new head sculpt, is probably a spoiler that's going to be happening while he changed up the hair during in 97. Again, as of this recording, the show has not been out yet. And the other thing I noticed when I was watching the Time Futures episode, I think this is an accurate blaster from the original series, because when I first saw the 3D scans of this coming up down the pipeline with previews, was that I thought this was going to be another Nerf gun that got turned into it, because when I saw the trigger guard, it reminded me a lot of a AccuStrike blaster. I don't have my only AccuStrike Falcon Fire with me because I left it in the basement, but you can already tell from like the grip mount here is that it has a lot of unfinished kind of like slapped together stuff. Maybe that's like the kayfabe for this version of Bishop's Future as far as the animation goes for the upcoming series. And it's very rubbery. It's not gummier than I look at when I saw it. As you can also tell, my apologies doing it off screen. Here we go. So I think Toy Spot said that this is the left hand is a grip hand, because a lot of people misconstrued or misunderstand, like myself, that this is going to be another trigger hand, mainly because the back holster is on the left, thinking that's going to be where Bishop is going to be holstering it in the show. Most likely that's a yes, but as you can already see, it's definitely grip mount, and wow, you can already tell the gumminess already with this future blaster. But that being said, the big worry I was going to get to, and hang on, let me just switch this up. Yeah, gonna see a little bit how the sausage gets made here. Long story short, hopefully the goal for a future figure of reviews is give you a drop down here to show you when I switch the accessories. So in this particular case in Bishop, this is the only fist hand he has, so we're gonna try to do what I hope doesn't happen. So before we get to that, the hands here are actually not bad, decent sculpting, good gloving. Not too much on the gloss on my copy. It does look worn. It does look a little bit weathered in the animation side of things. So let's get this out. Oh, and I caught it. Okay, so the reason why I mentioned that is because this is a separate piece of the glove. So it's not sculpted in case anyone wants to know. And you can already tell that the peg joint down there for the hands are a little more cemented than I thought it was going to be, or something along those lines. And again, the fist was what came with Bishop in the box, so if that's the case, here we go. It's reestablished pretty well. The hinge joint's pretty good, so we're going to go back to the main studio, as in right here, real quick. My apologies for reassessing. To do a, finally, long overdue for this double review and the build-up for it, articulation. So, like, most of, like I said, with, I think Peggy and, Daredevil Electro, he and all three of these figures are a new sculpt. What I mean by that is, the ball joint here is a little bit more, wow, way more range than you thought. I think if you take the head out, which I won't have time for this review, the scarf is removable, so if I wanted to use it, say, on Outback over here, he can totally use it. It's a little bit more rounded out, so it's going to look a little weird on, yeah, Stuart over here, aka Future Me. For the fist, another thing, I wished it had, like, an effect part, like that ring, glow effect that I think was happening in the episode proper to be an accurate representation. Another thing here, since we're on articulation, yes, double jointed elbow, the ab crunch is there. It's not too loud in the clicky department, but it does confirm. A lot of people have pretty much worried about the lining when it comes to the race strip that is Bishop's Time Future uniform, because I think in the comics it was like a Time Cop. Not really. It was really more of a Future Cop thing that happened to look like X-Men logos, and I don't know, he must have misthought that. For the head sculpt, since we're here, the M tattoo that happens to be the, I think in story, is a Days of Future Past nanotech that makes it permanent no matter how hard you try to get it off, kind of thing. Very symbolic, very impressive for that timeline. It builds a lot of good stakes for that timeline. The holster is surprisingly, I think, a separate piece. Yes, it is. I haven't took the liberty of taking it off myself, but if you can do it, that means there's a slim chance you could probably put him on the correct shoulder. I don't know if, like I said, Bishop is going to be a lefty in a cartoon, or I don't know his preferred dominant hand in the comics. My best guess, it's probably still left-handed. So that said, plugging it back in is relatively simple. It's not too hollow that I thought it was going to be for the holster, but it's there, and the double jointed elbow makes you at least simulate him trying to get it out and get ready for whatever comes next to him, as far as, I guess, bad guys go. No drop-down hip for this particular version of the character. That would be the only cool thing I think I would like with this new head sculpt and new body in general. There is a thigh cut. It does break up the puffer, I think, padding that was happening here. A lot of people were confused. I forgot if it was Anthony's Customs or some other reviewer that said this was actually in tandem with the Jim Lee era art at the time. So it's half comic book accurate, half original variation for the new series. And like most of the male body mold, it's going to have double jointed knees, just like Monet over there. I forgot to showcase that. The boot cut is actually pretty good. The rocker on the ankles are fine as well. And with that all said, my overall thoughts with my only X-Men 97 character, for now, I'm pretty sure I'm going to either get the Wolverine or Cyclops of the Wave, depending who asks, best guess, probably do a Gambit and Rogue, because they are using the current Error comics with their Jim Lee costumes, I think, to, again, probably promote X-Men 97 coming up. I would love all these figures. They're all pretty much mainstays of the X-Men, so let me get Monet out here, too. So for scores, like I said, 9 for Monet, big old 10 here for Bishop, because it's pretty much a good, perfect figure for the Legends wave, especially, I think this is going to be one of the MVPs for the 97 wave going down the line. And with that all being said, I'm pretty much done. This is a great two pack to start with the double reviews of the year. I highly recommend getting these to fill out your X-Men collection. Maybe make custom teams with, because I don't know if they've ever worked together in the comics in any like variations, like maybe an X-Force team or stuff like that. And just seeing even like side by side with Cable over there, you can definitely feel like the custom team vibes you can do. Last up, I guess to do size comparisons of like a future past variety, let's have the Marvel Legends, I forgot what wave this Cable was from, so my apologies there. I think it's a Jim Lee era Cable. And with my future self, aka Outback, and you could already tell the body differentials. Again, this is a previous mold going into the new one, and this is a G.I. Joe figure, and you could already tell like the custom like scrappy team you can make in a Dead Future kind of vibes for your storytelling, if you're doing stop motion or any kind of fan film with it, with these figures. So overall, I say in Bishop's case, he is definitely an amazing pickup. For $30, it's mainly because of the packaging. It's the retro card. For the only shame I'll say, I just wish it had an effect part to show off his mutation, which is throwing back blasts against you. It's kind of like a throwback kind of thing, like a ricochet effect, essentially. Almost, for those who don't know, was one of my OC names for a custom, I guess, original X-Men I wanted to do for the Fall of X storyline. So with that all said, is it worth having an incomplete, I guess, wave when it comes to the Build-A-Figure of the last year's wave? Yes and no. It depends on who you ask. And with that all being said, go to Bishop over here for finally my Critical Role short for episode 81. Now that 82 is coming out later this week. Go to Monet over here to see my previous video, which was my top 5 most anticipated movies / videos and reviews I'll probably be doing in 2024. And go to basically all the figures I just displayed here. To sub the channel, hit the notification bell down below. And with that all being said, I am Retrokid Reviews saying, wow, X-Men 97 looks pretty good figures-wise. I hope the show, I guess, lives up to it, if anything else. That said, take care, and, yeah, I didn't think I'd be an X-Men guy after these figures, but I'm starting to get a bigger collection than I thought. Not the biggest. I think Robo beats it. Go to his channel down below as well. But, yeah, I was going to do the Japanese X-Men theme, but, yeah, X-Men is today. Wow, did I just remember the 80s one? Wow, man, I'm weird.